tuned in to the 2-Minute Warning, a live stream community conversation pertaining to social and political issues and how we can collectively resolve them. Powered by the Westside Gazette.
Good evening and welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. I am your co-host, David Wright, and I'm here with my dear brother, Mr. Bobby R. Henry Sr., the editor-in-chief of the Westside Gazette and the chairman of the NNPA. How you doing today, my brother?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
All right. Come on,
Happy birthday. Hey man, today is your birthday. So I pray and ask that God continue to bless you, give you great health, good friends, and a loving family. So that's how I'm doing, bro. I'm just glad to be next to you.
Amen. Yes, I received that, my dear brother. It has been a great day, and I'm excited about tonight's show. So I know we got a lot to cover.
Oh yeah.
So we want to move on. But I do want to say this, this show is powered by the Westside Gazette. And over the years, I can remember when the paper in its infancy, when it first started, and one of the themes or mottos was a positive paper for a positive people.
Yeah.
Anything you want
and David, you say that. There's a group of brothers that every morning we pray. How we used to do it on Friday evenings, and one of the brothers, Vern Doolin, reached back and picked up a celebratory copy of what we did on our 51st anniversary. And for us, for somebody to recognize what you have done in terms of service, it really does something to your spirit. So I am indeed honored for us to continue that legacy, and for my daddy to come up with that 53 years ago. And so being a positive paper for a positive people meant something, because at the time, mainstream was just beating us up.
Yes.
Only reporting on the darker side of our darkness. Kind of like that. Yeah. And so, man, thank you.
And then it kind of transitioned also into deeply rooted.
Oh yeah.
And will not be moved.
Boy, God has given you a lot of wisdom on today, your birthday. Which is great. And you're right, and David, but it's because of our community, not giving a shameless plug, but for people like you and Perry and our listening audience, and now our attorney Sandra and the rest of the audience that have allowed us to grow and to blossom and to continue. We want to continue, and we need our audience to help us to continue. Give us some stuff to do. Give us something to focus in on. Tell us what we need to be talking about and writing about. Brother Wesley Boyd, I see you. Let's keep it going.
Like a mighty tree planted on the side of the river, deeply rooted. And will not be moved.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And you are a part of that.
Yes, sir.
How you like that?
Well, we got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? We got okay. Well, let's start with our celebration. We were talking about this, and unfortunately, we couldn't actually do the show. But this is a celebration piece. It's in the paper. If you haven't got your paper, I think it's on page 3. An ode to Mrs. Henrietta Black. For those that don't know, you want to just share a little bit about who she was?
Sure, I'll share a little bit. But I ask that for our viewers and listeners, if you would, pick up a copy of the Westside Gazette or go to the www.thewestsidegazette.com and read the article on Henrietta Lacks. Yesterday was her birthday. Now, there's a quote in there by attorney Benjamin Crump. I think it sums up her total service to humankind, not just mankind, to humankind. And I think Ben said something like, let me find it, but Henrietta Miss Lax, her cells, her cancer cells, are still being used to fight and try to find a cure for cancer. But the sad part about it was the companies, the people that use her cells, never informed her family, never said anything to them about what they were doing, and which led to a lot of people, a lot of information being found out about cancer and how to treat it, and they continue to use her cells. Her cells are still alive for them to have in a laboratory to try to find out a cure for cancer. But I wanted to find that quote from Attorney Crump, and I thought it was so profound. And just give me a second, Dave. You go ahead on while I find this quote.
And you know, so much in history we found where our ancestors have been a part of history-making opportunities that's been life-saving. We do know, you know, we talk about blood plasma. I mean, and now even the COVID vaccine. There have been scientists that have done remarkable things. I mean, if you really want to go back in history, some of the Egyptians were the first to do surgery. You know, it's just interesting that now we're having to fight for just getting notoriety, just getting respect about our contributions when it comes to science.
And to the sister who wrote the article, Professor Deliso Alfred, very impressive sister. And so they are still in the process of getting the Congressional Medal of Honor posthumously to the Lax family. I wanted to quote it specifically. But what Ben said, and I didn't pull it up just for the sake of time, if you ever had any vaccination, anything, then you got a bit of Henrietta Lacks in you too. You know, and that goes across the board. So, but yeah, man, it's extremely important for us to recognize and tell her story, you know, and her legacy. So we are very grateful and thankful for Professor Alfred and for Attorney Benjamin Crump and your legal team for all of the hard work that you're doing to bring this and this whole thing around in order for the Lax family to get that Congressional Medal of Honor and the financial support for what was done. We never could pay for the harm or whatever happened to transpire, but we can, I guess, talk about the financial benefits, if you will. Yeah.
So moving on, man. This temperature is heating up. We got tropical waves possibly coming through this weekend, and all of the back to school events that are coming up this weekend. We just want people to be safe out there. You know, be mindful of this heat. Continue to stay hydrated. Drink your water. Some of these heat indexes are going up in the low hundreds.
And if you already have pre-existing conditions, please, brothers and sisters, don't be a Superman or a Superwoman. If you feel the least bit faint or something doesn't feel right, seek attention immediately. Get out of that sun. Like Brother Wright said, preferably hydrate before you even go out there, but pay close attention to your bodies. And those of you who are of a certain age, you know, let us be mindful. I see we got Miss Lumpkins wishing you a happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. What do Wesley say? Trying to be slick. Happy Earth Day.
So let's just move on before we go into our sports analyst. The big elephant in the room is the NABJ.
Well, the NABJ and the Donald Trump, is it saga or Sega? How they work? Saga continues. And in brevity, I think the world had an opportunity to see just how profound this guy is. How profound, filled with stupidity, I should add to it, that he is. But there was some blowback and some conversation needed as it pertains to the NNPA and the NABJ. They are two different organizations with different purposes, but for the betterment of Black folk across this country, we should recognize the benefit of each organization. There were those like me who felt that the invitation should have been rescinded to Donald Trump, because there are those who know and knew what he would do, his disrespect, his contempt for people of color, especially women. And so we felt like he should not have the audience to do anything, to play any tricks, any bamboozlement, is that a word? Yeah, anything contrary to the truth. But Donald Duck showed his true colors by quacking all of the nonsense that he did and the disrespectful manner in which he treated the panelists and the organization in itself. So we beg and ask that allow that to be a learning lesson for our organizations to really pay attention to each other with respect and understand that we are all in this together, and what we do reflects and it causes our audiences to act and react, and we want them to act appropriately. Yeah. So I won't belabor it.
No,
I'm trying to walk the eggshell.
yeah, well, it's a fine line, but I think it speaks for itself. But listen, we got a lot to cover tonight. We got our sports analyst, Mr. Sylvester Mooney Robinson. We're gonna bring him on. You know, there's so much going on with the Olympics right now, sports all over, the Marlins. If we could bring on our sports analyst, Mr. Sylvester Mooney Robinson. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing outstanding.
Mooney on the side. Mooney on the side. Yeah.
Thank you so much, David, and happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And sometimes I've said this before, but sometimes I feel that what I'm talking about is so insignificant in today's world and everything that's going on. I can't even refer to the guy by his name. I refer to him as 45. That's how I feel about how distasteful he is to me. But anyway, brothers, I'm very happy to report on the Olympics and what's been going on. It's been an outstanding time. I was anticipating the Olympics for a while. Thought we needed something like that to keep it, just give us a different atmosphere, a different feeling. And Bobby kind of stole my thunder when he wrote about the Olympics and how we could kind of bring it together in his article in the paper this week. And he talked about the Olympic spirit. And I think that's what we need now. And we've actually seen that. I just hope that the other parts of the country are feeling the same way. I had been writing an article about the NBA basketball players and LeBron and this dream team that we thought would be comparable to the 92 Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley team. And we kind of make those comparisons because we're talking about basketball players who are the best in the world, and how perhaps the theory is that the world is caught up with our basketball skills and talents, because in the preseason there were some close games played against Australia and South Sudan. And I thought that perhaps that was the case because Other teams also had NBA caliber players on it, like Greece has Giannis, and Serbia has the tall kid from the NBA MVP. I can't think of his name right now, but they've got great NBA players on other teams as well. And also the talent level, the competitive level has gotten closer. And then I saw where our USA pros dominated Japan, and I had to take a second look at that and say maybe that's not true. But I've come to the conclusion that after we defeated South Sudan today, perhaps by about 15, 20 points. I think the score was 106 to 103 to 86 or something like that. The same team that played us so closely in preseason. I just came to the conclusion that maybe this team is not as talented as the 92 Dream Team, but we are still the best basketball players in the world. And I believe that this Olympic team will win the gold and go undefeated on that basis, because but we'll see how it works out. Now, in terms of medals, we have not done as well up until today. I must say that we had not done as well in terms of gold medals. We had won more overall medals, but there is, along those same lines, some competitive growth with other countries in other sports, for example, in gymnastics and in swimming, whereas we dominated swimming in the past and won gold medals with Michael Phelps and others. This time, that trend goes to the Australians, and there's an Irish swimmer named Marchand who has done so, and French. So they are winning the golds, and we're winning medals, but not the gold medals. But now, today, you know what happened? We won a gold medal in fencing of all sports, all disciplines. Yes. And we won a gold medal in rowing, if you can believe that. And you saw what Simone Biles did last night, and Suni Lee and Jordan Childs. They were just outstanding. They won the overall team, and Simone won the overall individual gold medal. So at this point, we have won more medals, 9. We're in the lead, and we also have more overall medals. So it's coming back in full to where it should be. And I believe that once track and field begins, it's going to be even more. We're going to be even more dominant. And my wife just told me to talk about how many blacks really dominant with the gymnastics team. Did you see the color? You know, in the past, how those girls would normally be all vanilla, and that's not the case. I think there was one young lady, Jade Carey, who's only white on that squad. So that's just progress. We're not demeaning anybody else. That's progress. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the Olympics, and I just wanted to say that going now to Tua, you know that the Dolphins signed Tua to about a $212 million contract. So now they put all their baskets in him. We criticized in the past, not that he's not a good quarterback and even a great quarterback, but what he doesn't bring to the table is the athletic ability and the ability to make plays on the run in case the protection breaks down and he has to do it by himself. He doesn't have that potential. Everything has to be right for him in terms of the offensive line. He has a receiver. So we'll see if the Dolphins have made the right move there. I'm hopeful. So. I'm certainly hopeful that is the case. But there's a lot going on. The decathlon starts tomorrow. Track and field starts soon. We should be dominant in all of those. I believe we're going to do well. I know Jamaica will have something to say about that with the men and the women, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the Olympics. And I just pray that the Olympics will somehow bring us together spiritually when it comes to politics and things like that. And everybody catches that spirit, because as you all were saying, God has a plan for all of us, and so many things is just coming into play, like the exchange of the hostages today, the Olympics, and it's just I feel a lot better than I did before after President Biden resigned. So that's all I have for y'all tonight.
All right, Coach.
That's a lot, knowing on the sideline.
That's a lot, though.
You moved from the sideline down to the 2-minute warning on the goal line.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to.
Right. Coach, you think Snoop gonna bring home the gold for the best commentator?
Listen. I'd love to be in his place. He's really living his best life, isn't he? He's having a great time.
He's really bringing light and fun to the Olympics. So
yes, he is.
Before you go to it, I mean, I know we enjoy seeing Snoop there, Brodus, Mr. Brodus.
Yeah.
But y'all, let's be perfectly honest. When Snoop was in that water trying to swim, you know, he had his head up trying to.
Yeah.
I said, "Come on, man, what you doing?"
Hey.
That was all right.
That's why a lot of black
What
folks.
was you doing, Snoop? Dog.
Yeah. We don't want to put our head underwater. That's why we don't know how to swim as well.
Yeah.
All right.
But thank you, Coach. Wow, man, that was pretty interesting. Very good.
Yes. So wow, Coach gave us a lot there.
Yeah,
so I really appreciate it. We hadn't been on for a couple of weeks, so I'm glad that he was able to bring it to us. We want to go ahead and get started, and without any further ado, I'd like for you to bring on our guest.
Well, and I will, and you. Sometimes I have the tendency of really messing up a name, so I'll just refer to our next guest as the most impressionable, Sandra, who can entertain us on a number of levels. She is an astute attorney, and she knows exactly what she's doing. So without any further ado, if we can bring on Sandra, please.
Attorney Sandra. No stranger.
No stranger to the 2-minute warning. Yeah. And if we can
Go ahead and unmute.
I'm muted. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Right, there you go.
Good evening and happy birthday. Happy Earth Day, Mr. Wright.
Thank you. So glad
Glad
to
to
have
be
you.
here today on your special day. They got you working today, huh?
Yes, well, this is family.
Yes, yes.
And if I could, I want to bring this around to
March continues.
how this whole conversation came to be. We were following Sandra, attorney Sandra, on her Race to the Races, her show, and she had a very illuminating and interesting show. And I immediately called her and say, "Look, come on now, let's bring this thing here. Let's continue of what has been started." And we do understand that all politics are local, and we have to deal with our politics on a local level. And so, what better way to dive into this local political, situation as it pertains to our school board than to have a person as knowledgeable as you to come on and let's talk about that, if you will.
So I don't know how knowledgeable I am. I just know that I went to that meeting on Tuesday, and I left there like I just couldn't even explain how I was feeling. And I wasn't even the person who was the subject of the conversation. And if I left there feeling the way I felt, then I can't imagine, what Dr. Shaw was feeling at that time. And I was supposed to, talk to some folks, and I was like, I'm gonna come here by myself because I'm gonna say some things, and I didn't want anybody who may not agree with me to have to deal with some of the consequences of the things that I said yesterday. And if I tell you, I got phone calls from people that ain't supposed to be in months last night, right? I was getting phone call after phone call. I've been getting some phone calls today. So yeah, I guess it made some impact. I don't know if it was something that needed to be said, but the fact that I said it have brought some peoples out to come talk to me. And I think the folks who should be calling people to explain and apologize or whatever, I still haven't heard that they've done that, but I've definitely received far more phone calls than I have after a show. So yeah.
Before we go in a little deeper, we got our special guest.
Yeah, we're gonna bring our special guest on so we can all share in this conversation.
Yeah.
Now, our next guest is no stranger to the 2-minute warning. Absolutely, he's actually one of the co-founders of how all of this came together. Our dear brother Perry Busby. Now, Perry's a data analyst, author, columnist, and an advocate for voter education and election integrity. So we could not have this conversation with attorney Sandra without bringing our dear brother Perry Busby on. Come on, Perry. Where are you, sir?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, our brother.
How
are
my
you?
my brothers, and my sister, my dear sister. So good to see you, Attorney Cherfrere. And my brother David, happy birthday, my brother, man.
Thank you, man.
As I say, 8-1. I hold these 8-1 birthday people in high esteem because my granddaughter's birthday is today. And so, man, just well wishes to you. My life is so blessed having just come to know you, and so the show is enriched, and I'm so happy to at least when they called me yesterday and we started talking about the show, I started feeling like Michael Corleone. I'm just in the family business. I no matter where I go, they just keep calling me back. And so, man, but I'm happy to be here, and the times demand not just our presence, but our attention. And so I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So I want Sandra now to continue and maybe let Perry come on and
if I can just bring a little frame around this picture.
Yes.
What is happening? What has happened is and I'm sure Attorney Cherfrere, did I say it almost correctly?
Almost. It's Cherfrere.
Cherfrere.
Yes.
And Attorney Cherfrere will make it plain. There's been a situation in the Broward County school system with the Broward County School Board in terms of equal disciplinary actions, if you will, not getting fair treatment for people that it appears to have a darker hue, and what happened on Tuesday brought something to a head. This has been going on for a while. As she speaks about an individual who has been placed in timeout, or whatever term you want to use, and has been unjustly vilified, and it came to a head, and Attorney Cherfrere was there to witness it. So that's what we're talking about, and it was so I would say obvious what was transpiring that it actually made folk get angry, and so I hope I'm bringing it into a capsule where you can take that, fill those blanks in.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what happened, and just the disparity in treatment was just too glaring. And I didn't realize how upset I was until like my brother was like, I felt like you was yelling at me yesterday. And I was like, that ain't what I meant to do, but I really needed to get that point across because it felt brazen to me, and it felt like very dismissive of a woman of color, but it could have just, and then folks been calling me trying to say, well, they don't know better. That wasn't their intentions. I'm like, that can't be the case. Like there's no way that excuse can be made when they were able to exhibit humanity and compassion for one person and not do it the same. Like, and for me, there was no other explanation for that. And it was just time to just call it out, call it what it is, say what it is. And oftentimes these folks are trying to be nice and acting like they're doing all of these things because they want to get reelected, right? Because, there were, some folks will give her credit for some of the things she's done, but it's like, no, you can't put that person back on the board. It's too much at stake. We can't continue to have people who, like, even if they don't know better, that can no longer be an excuse. And you can't keep them in a position where they're having this type of impact on someone's life. Like it just can't continue. It can't continue.
If I could, I'm going to read something from one of the people who were there. And this is what that person said. Ms. Hickson repeated the hateful rhetoric from Dr. Shaw's investigation without conducting proper research. If she had done her due diligence, she would have discovered that Dr. Shaw had been cleared in the investigation. It was her responsibility to be informed. By further victimizing Dr. Shaw, she exacerbated the situation by depicting her as an angry Black woman unable to control her emotions.
More than angry, dangerous, like a dangerous Black woman that was a threat, right? In a threat in the worst kind of way, right? Particularly with those words coming from, I don't even want to repeat what she said, but the fact that those words came from her mouth in particular, given the fact that she had that experience with MSD, it makes it even more like, oh my God, this is why I have to not support anything less than that's already here because of what happened to her there. So for her to be the one to say those words and for them not to be the one, that was just absolutely just too much, and it couldn't go unchecked. The record couldn't stand on that at all, because her saying those things make it even more inflammatory. People would believe it. They would start to sympathize and understand why she would want to be tough on this particular person because of the nature of the threat that wasn't really a threat at all. So that's why I was like, no, you can't be allowed to do this.
And community, this is where we come in. We have to step up and speak out. If we don't, this type of behavior will continue from those who are elected to be on our school board. It has nothing to do with partisan politics. It has everything from what appears to be a situation in black and white.
A situation now also where the lie goes around and the truth never catches up with it. In other words, she has now not come back out publicly and apologize for this particular statement of this condoning of this individual. It wasn't true. Am I correct, Sandra?
That's correct. Haven't called anybody to say, I'm sorry or whatever, I'm gonna clear the record or anything like that, And the other part of it that was also just like, my goodness, right? So there were directives that was given to staff the last time this item came up. Right, there was directive that was given to staff the last time this item came up, and so they're presenting, and board member Alston said, "Well, staff was supposed to talk to Dr. Shaw. Staff was supposed to do all these things." The board members were like, "No, we didn't hear you say that. We don't know what you're talking about." The gentleman that's in charge of making sure all the minutes and the information and all of the stuff that's supposed to be done is recorded and documented. Like, no, I don't remember you said that either. What you talking about, right? And so Tori's like, go check the record. They go check the record and be like, oh yeah, we reviewed the video and we were supposed to do that. That makes it even worse, right? So that meant that them board members was sitting there probably not even paying attention to what's going on, right? If that's either one, or they were like, ain't nobody got no time to worry about this black woman. We just gonna come back here, act like we know what they was talking about. It was dismissive. However you want to look at it, it's absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable. You didn't follow, and then if you weren't paying attention, what you mean? You on here supposed to be paying attention, right? And then for you not to even make an attempt is like, are you serious? Like, no.
We're working on a clip, so we'll just show you a little bit. We'll keep going. Perry, now you're not too far removed from local politics here, and you're muted.
No, I'm not. And how can I best say this? Attorney Cherfrere, I listened to your show from last night, and I stand with you in that I would say if I had a chance to vote on a board member at large, such as Debbie Hickson is, I wouldn't waste a lead in my pencil to fill that square. So let's be real. Okay, I'll give you my interaction with Debbie Hickson. I've met her several times on the trail. I know her story, and Lord knows, as a spouse, I would not want to go through what she experienced. I pray for her and her family for going through that, and for the other Parkland victims, those who have tried to achieve and go beyond, and those who sort of whatever. Ms. Hickson is well received among the Democratic establishment of Broward. She's seen as one of the leaders across the board. Can we be real tonight?
Yeah. But we're always
okay. We're gonna be real. And she's seen as one of the Democratic progressives. And if we're gonna slice Democrat, I don't know if that means Black Democrats, but Democrats. My last interaction with her, and the most telling, had to do on the Zoom call during COVID, and at the time, DeSantis was running rampant with this whole CRT, and Republicans was talking about critical race theory in the classroom, and was sending our classrooms and districts into chaos. But if you notice, Broward didn't say a damn thing. And at the time, Bobby, you were fighting Broward over another issue with it being 9 white women. Mm-hmm. Can we connect some dots? I think Debbie Hickson was on that list of 9 white women at that time. Yeah. And we were talking about critical race theory, and this was a Democratic call. Democratic clubs and all of the folk who hang in those circles, this was a call. And they were talking about critical race theory. And so the question was, well, why hasn't Broward said anything? And Ms. Hickson's response was, they didn't see it. Well, you know the tension between Broward and Tallahassee. We did not think it to be critical enough to engage on an issue like that. And my response was, how white of you? Because you're not going through what people are feeling, what your constituents are feeling, who are experiencing a different kind of energy from this CRT. And how dare you as a board member say you didn't think that this was worth even engaging in? So I made my choice on that day, that if I have a chance for somebody to speak to me, for me, then you are totally not on my scorecard. And that's where I stand on that issue. I'm not trying to influence. I'm just saying, choose for yourself. Choose for yourself. These are her words, and those were her actions.
Influence. Go ahead and influence. Okay, go ahead and influence. If I can say this too. Now, I on a Sunday morning in church, Debbie Hickson and what's the other guy name? Wholeness came to visit Mount Olive. Okay, so it was one of them moments, you know how you get in church and the spirit hits you, to kind of convict you. So I said, I'm gonna go up to these people and I'm gonna apologize to them. And I said, if I said anything that was wrong and I hurt you in any way, I apologize. But God, dog, here we are now, where we extend an olive branch. And what we are getting now from Miss Hickson is spattle in our faces. When she spews from the dais, that this is a dangerous black woman. And all of that was repudiated. It was found null and void. It was thrown out. And it's not the only one that this has happened to. There was a case with Tori Austin where they tried to entangle him and his wife with this charter school mess that the school board had done and spent their money and put it someplace else. They tried to bring him entwined to that. But Mr. Austin had recused himself and didn't vote on any items. But yet and still, this board that's supposed to be one of equality and fairness is a bunch of bovine excretions.
Bobby,
you know,
I will also enlighten you. Remember, we did a show about a special ed teacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Niggle.
Right. Not only to the student, but to another male assistant.
Mr. Hood.
Right. And the board failed to act on that issue as far as at least to my last understanding, they failed to act.
No consequence to that woman.
And attorney, you brought that up on your show.
And let me say, BTU defended her. BTU went and defended her, represented her, and with that woman wasn't even a member of the union of the BTU when it happened. She goes and joined afterwards, right? Which, like, how you gonna do that? They ended up representing her, and the person who was the victim of what she did was a member of BTU, and they wouldn't do anything for them. That's how ridiculous that was. So all these people that's walking around with these BTU endorsements don't respect that. Don't respect that. That's probably a problem. Okay, because that's also part of the issue of what's happening is that you have a person that's the president of that organization that's going around talking crazy to people and being a bully and just not properly representing folks that should be represented. They're out here making everything like a popularity contest, who they favor, who they like, who falls in line with them, you know, and that's not how this is supposed to work, right? And it's time for people to know that that's what they're doing, and it's not okay, because at the end of the day, the children that they're sent there to protect and serve, that's not what they're doing. They're not doing anything to benefit children, but they're doing everything to benefit themselves. And that is like, I'm over it. I'm past over it because now it's blatant and brazen, right? Like they're like, so what? We gonna do it like that, and what? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. Y'all Democrats gonna go vote for us anyway. These people in the teachers union, I don't know. I think they can't take your money directly. You got to pay them. They're like, you gonna pay me anyway. I'm gonna still make my money, and I can do whatever I want. And that's pretty much what they telling you. They keep me stupid, give me my money, let me make it, and I don't care nothing about you and your feelings. And I'm specifically talking to black people in this moment. Y'all keep supporting folks that's not supporting you back.
And attorney, okay, you did it. You done kicked the door off the hinges.
I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. And I want to say this. You know, we are willing to do what we have to do to put this stuff on the line. Now, what infuriates me is that those individuals let me say it correctly. Some of those individuals that we're willing to fight for, where is the fight in them? What has caused them to be so beat down? Are they that afraid of a BTU representative? Are they that afraid of whatever for them not to speak up? Several people have spoken to you, attorney. Several people have spoken to you, David. Perry, you know of some. I know of some. There are enough people who have been victimized by this system that if we bring it all to the forefront, something has to be done.
Right.
So if you out there listening, I'm going to use. It's time for you to speak up too.
So can I tell you what I think part of the problem is, right?
You gonna tell us.
Because I also received one of them phone calls where they was trying to apologize for this woman, right? So the folks who know, like, yo, this is what's going on, what they're worried about is another black person going behind their back, right? And just, say, oh, you know, they about to do this and and then, you know, it gets interrupted, whatever, you know, because these folks, they play by their own set of rules, right? There's some, because they don't follow their own rules, right? They'll go switch it up and, you know, change it like overnight and be acting like you ain't know what the rule was, you know? And so, and folks are afraid, and I'm not telling nobody to go lose their job because them bills is high out here. And I understand that, but I think what the concern is that, yes, I will go out and I will say something, we will organize, but we don't know who those skin folk who ain't kin folks are, and then go ahead and then there we go.
It's nothing new to the game. That's what gets me. Now, oh God, we have made it. We've come this far, and we have made it. That ain't nothing new to us. What? Okay, let me step back. Sandra, don't do this. Let me just regroup and see if we could just, brothers and sisters, and the hymns and the hers and the he's, all of us. This is nothing new to us when it comes to all skin folk and kin folk. From every resurrection, that's the right term, insurrection, resurrection, revolt, or whatever you want to have, from the magma rooms and Haiti, and over here with Nat Turner, you know, somebody in there went to them to tell them. However, if we, those who are victimized, refuse to stand up and talk, it's extremely difficult for us to fight this fight alone. I kind of said it. You
know, Harriet Tubman, she carried a gun for a reason. Yeah. You're coming or you're not. But listen, is there more at stake? Is there much more at stake? Is this sabotaging the entire school system? And I'm hearing other implications that, you know, they're posturing themselves to take advantage of these properties of these debilitating schools.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this whole setup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I compare Broward a lot of times to where I live in Harris County in Houston. The dynamics, the political dynamics are very similar. I mean, and them both being strong Democratic counties in red states and the fights that go on. But as this has been going on, you know, Bobby, I've always been saying, pump the brakes, because we know that what Republicans get away with in one state, they'll try in another. And so what is happening right now as we speak, as Broward is having its fights like the Houston School Board did so much, HISD is now under the direction of the governor. And so he appointed a superintendent, and that guy has gone through and wreaked havoc within HISD to the point of teachers mass resigning. You have administrators just totally out of chaos. Administrators who had tenured service, not just within a school, but within a community. And now you take that principal out for no reason. You just wipe out the entire, you know, staff in some schools and replace them. And so, but we know what the overall goal of Republicans are when it comes to education. You know, they want to devalue public education, but take those dollars and reappoint them toward white Christian private schools. That's they're saying it loud and clear, and this is the way that they're doing it. And so our disorganization is at our own kids' peril.
But I want us to understand, Perry, and you're absolutely right. But we, the Democrats, are the ones who are doing the most damage right about now. to give reason, you know, and for us to sit back and allow them. We need to get each one of them off the school board.
Yeah.
I mean, and replace them with somebody who really cares. Hickson doesn't care
at all.
I'm gonna bring up another name. That all skin folk ain't kin folk. We need to pay attention, man. And I'm speaking to you, Mr. Wholeness. We need to pay attention. Let's quit playing around. This is no joke. You are about to create a scenario where you're gonna make it appear like it's the Republicans doing this, and God darn it, you're doing it to yourselves.
Because I'm trying to understand the audit vote. Like I was trying to understand why he voted against the audit, where the people who went up there said what Fogan-Holly was asking for was not an unreasonable ask, right? Like it was something that they would most likely have to do and come in and check anyway. So if it's not unreasonable as part of the process, why don't you go ahead and deal with it up front? You know, so I still don't understand it. You know, maybe he's gonna go on somebody's platform to explain it, because I don't think he's gonna come back and come talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I don't like him, because he's appointed me to the ESC advisory board. So but at the end of the day, we got to say what it is, because it's the consequences are too much. They keep affecting Black communities. Don't give them enough, you know, treat them badly, and then now you want to go treat them bad again, and now you want to become another pimp in the community. That's the last thing we need. Like nobody don't need that, right? So there's a time where you just kind of have to speak on it, because the things that you're doing is not okay, and this is not okay. Because I again, so let him go somewhere and explain what that audit stuff is. I don't understand why he voted against it, and to me that just kind of, you know.
And what's happening with our sister Natalie? What's happening with Natalie Walsh? Now Natalie is the one who she be spot on. What is going on with her? What are they doing? The people who are willing to fight, that have all of the juice and the stuff to do this thing in, and they are slowly picking them off. And we got those on the board. And Daniel, you need to speak up too. You know, I ain't gonna let you slide a little bit now. And those who have sleight of hands, you know, you better watch out. You can't be getting away either, Mr. Zima. You know,
he voted against that order too. He voted.
The people are watching. We're not crazy.
That too.
And hold up, Mr. Hepburn, Dr. Hepburn. You know, you just coming in.
Don't let the people set you up, brother.
Don't let them set you
up. They gonna leave
Don't
you.
Do it.
You're gonna leave with a mug shot like the other one. Don't let them people set you up.
Go ahead, Dave.
And Brother Perry, when it comes to some of these you know, voting records of these school board members, I mean, if we follow some of the money and we look at some of these campaign contributors, would that kind of answer some of these questions as how and why they're voting the way they're voting?
Yeah, I would say so, because for one, we must understand that really the board really is more on the infrastructure and the sustainability of the school board. So yeah, you got school board members who are more concerned with what's going on with contracts and future buildings and that more than they are with your child's education and what's going on. Let's just be honest. Because that's where the money's at, and where the money's at is where the attention is. And, you know, and in regards to this, I just say, you know, it is the dilemma of our time, because when you have a Republican Party that doesn't give you an option, it gives you bullshit Democrats, because you're not going to get your best. You're only going to get, because I don't have an option. So when I only have one, you're not really looking at quality. Okay, because anything this guy says is better than something I'm not willing to hear. And this is where we are with this.
No, we're not willing. Well, in the country, we might be like that, but in Broward County, we're not like that. in Broward County, in this particular election that's happening during the primaries, people actually do have viable options, right? You don't got to go true blue this time because they actually have some opponents. Now, I said something about the person in the C3 race, and the man called me today and want to talk to me. So maybe he's going to learn some stuff in the next 10 minutes. Because I was like, he ain't ready. But he was like, yo, I'm ready. I need to come talk to you. So I'm gonna let him come talk to me, and maybe he could convince y'all to make a different decision for that C3. But I'm telling you, in those other races, y'all got options. That is not the reality in Broward County this time, that you got trash on the other side. That ain't what that ain't what I see. So
so we bring it back home.
Yes.
All politics are local.
Yes.
I know Kamala has garnished the spotlight, and Lord knows that's a great thing.
That's a good thing.
But we need to pay attention to what's happening right here. Don't watch the hand over here and get punched in the jaw by this hand here. We have to stay the course. Watch what's happening here and vote. If what we're telling you, not if what we're telling you, based upon what we're telling you from what we have learned and garnered from the different reports and actions of those individuals, if they show you who they are, then damn it, that's who they are.
Leave them.
Right.
That's a nonpartisan race.
Yeah,
that's a nonpartisan race. Both of the people on your ballot.
Yeah, do it. And Lord knows, if you're talking about voting down ballot, and Clarence Thomas was a Democrat voting down ballot, what you gonna do? I'm just saying. You know, come on, folk. Voting is more than just checking in, bubbling a hole. It's more to it than that. And we have to be educated and aware of that. It's more to it than that. We're trying to give you information that you can use to help right the wrongs that have been done. But you got to do it. We can't do it for you. We got one vote. Yeah. You know, we got one vote. And those of you who I'm sorry, I'm not going to.
Yeah. Attorney Cherfrere. What was the turnout at that board meeting?
So mind you, it was at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Right. So I actually had to take time off my job to go there. I had to submit some PTO to take myself over there. But at least I was able to do it, whereas a lot of folks don't have that luxury to be able to do something like that, to be there. You know, right? And I could have been out of there in about 35 minutes, and it could have been a lunch hour situation. But then they said they had a time certain item, so then I ended up being there for 3 hours instead of the 35 minutes I could have been there. So it was there was a lot of media there because there was another high profile case about the transgender student that was playing in sports. And that's how it was obvious what was happening, right? Because they went to bat for that white woman to make sure she kept her salary, that they couldn't non-renew her, even though she broke the law. She broke the law. They knew she broke the law. They cited the law that she broke. She said if she had a chance to do it, she would do it again, right? She had absolutely no remorse, blamed everybody but herself. And they were like, we still don't think she should get terminated for that. And then you turn around in the next 5 and then spent over an hour talking about this, going back and forth, because they were trying to almost say she deserved no punishment. Then they went lower and people were like, hell nah, y'all ain't got the votes for that. And then they finally decided on a number, which I still think is like, are you serious? So I was like, okay, well, if y'all exercising grace and mercy right now, then let's see what happened with the next thing. They were extremely dismissive and didn't even want to spend a good 10 minutes dealing with Dr. Shaw's case. And it was clear and obvious what that was about. And when she made those inflammatory statements that were inaccurate, I was done with her after that. You know, and they pushed it to another day because they to give staff an opportunity to speak to Dr. Shaw.
Mm-hmm. And you know, attorney, you brought up a good point. The indiscrepancies that were used with this situation. Now, if I understand correctly, even if she got a job as a cafeteria worker, she would be paid the same amount of money that she was.
Because they said, correct? Yeah, well, yeah, because they protected her salary. There's like she got to keep making the same amount of money she's making, and they can't non-renew her at the end of the year based on past events. She would have to do something new during this academic year in order for them to make a decision to non-renew her. So she gets to keep her salary, and I think she has to be in a position where she doesn't have access to records or whatever. So listen.
Well, wait a minute, hold up.
I think that's what it was. Don't quote me on that part, but I know they protected her salary and that she can't get fired.
No, but you mentioned records. So she went into the system. She went into the system and fraudulently changed the records.
Well, so so let her tell it she didn't do it. Somebody else did it, but at her direction.
Oh.
Then I heard she also said, well, they shouldn't have took my word for it. They should have made me give them proof.
Okay. All right.
It's messy.
So now, one blatantly conducted a crime, right?
Admitted to it,
and said she'll do it again.
Do it again.
The other, there's a whole lot of stuff in there that
unsubstantiated, violated due process, broke their own rules during the course of an investigation that was absolutely flawed. Part of some of the stuff that happened under duress, all that. And
they want to just do her in.
They didn't want to spend no more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes talking about it.
One persuasion. And the other is of darker hue.
Yes, sir.
And the one who spewed the vile tenor of her conversation is the one of a lighter color against the.
Yes, and she was also and that, so that's one part of it, right? But the main thing about it is that she was advocating so hard, like that lady would have went through a burning building to save that woman, and that's the part that makes it so glaring, right? In one instance, you were really willing to go through the burning building to make sure that this white woman was protected at all costs, even though she admitted to all the crimes she committed, right? But here you don't even want to do the minimum that was required of you to make sure that you have all of the information and that you make an objective decision about the case that was in front of you.
And there's a viewer who says, Miss Groom says that this particular individual has been changing. She had been changing the gender of her child since 2nd grade. Wow.
And this isn't the first time Debbie Hickson has done something, right? She was part of that group who, remember when they hired the superintendent, Vicky Cartwright, they said, if you're the temporary superintendent, the interim, you can't become the permanent. They changed the rules to make her the permanent. And when on the day they were going to actually do that, that's when she did all that org chart stuff. And Dr. Shaw was caught up in that Vicky Cartwright mess because there was a demotion that took place and all of this stuff, right?
6 of them.
Right. During that time, right?
Yeah.
And then, so in the day when they were going to make a decision to hire her, I think they had 2 overflow rooms at the school board telling these women, don't do this. They were like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And they, even while they were doing it, they said, well, we know people aren't happy about it, but she's going to have to live with whatever decision she made. But I think we should give her a chance and all of that stuff. And then what, $250,000 or $500,000 later, the lady gone, with a bag of money and left nothing but, disaster behind.
And check this out.
Debbie goes, like she will walk through a burning building to let an incompetent white woman, get whatever, and then won't even do the minimum to make sure when she goes on a dais and say stuff that she has the correct information in front of her.
Now we must say that we're not being racist or biased because I understand that Brenda Pham supported Carly, so and to some degree. So we're not saying that. We're just saying that what Debbie Hickson did is outright wrong. And I see we got a couple of viewers who are vying for a school board position. Now don't think that your butt gonna come on and get an easy ride. It ain't like that. And you want everybody to understand that. And Dr. Hepburn, you sliding if we go back to the hood, where we used to say, you are sliding down a splendid sliding board with no underwear on into a pool of alcohol.
No.
So let's be mindful now, because we understand that there are some things that the community are questioning you about, and we need to make sure that you don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I think even at this time, we the late Congressman Bill Clay from Missouri, who said, and I think it's helpful for us in this always, is that he said in politics there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies, only permanent interests. And in saying that, we say to Ms. Hickson, Dr. Hepburn, whatever your interests are, that's okay. When they don't align with our interests is where we have a problem. And so we're not against what you advocate for. I believe what Brother Malcolm said, I'm for justice no matter who it's for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm against injustice, no matter who's at fault. So, so when we look at these, we ask that you judge from a justice, not from your critical eye. And so it's unfortunate, but I think we do. It is high time we do judge our all our elected officials, but especially those at the local level. Who we do get a chance to see on the local level. I mean, who we can pretty much see more, but even if you're not seeing your local representative, that says a lot. And those are things that we need. Yeah, those are things that we need to look at.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we passed the top of the hour. This has been a very involved, engaging, a lot of comments from our viewers. It almost appears that they want to continue this conversation, and that we may have to revisit this part 2, as well as to the outcome of what happens in the next meeting. Terry, I think you hit on a great note. We are looking for justice, but what else are we going to do? Are we going to get out and vote? Are we going to vote our conscience? Are we going to do our due diligence and really vet the candidates that are out there right now? Few have been exposed, and it's up to us to get out and make sure we vote and get the right ones in office. But again, let's stay on watch, guys. This district, I believe, is headed for some rough times.
Mm-hmm. I want to back up and bring up a comment that was made by Ms. Wimberly. And Ms. Wimberly said that's it. Right away, they made it clear that the black man's authority is not applicable to white staff under his purview. Okay, Dr. Hepburn, proven wrong. Here we go.
That's another conversation.
That's another conversation.
I don't know who the puppet or the puppeteer is.
They say when you see a person arguing with the fool, it's kind of hard after a while to determine who the fool is.
Right.
But closing comments, attorney.
Oh, so don't vote for her. Like, don't vote for Debbie Hickson. I'm telling you, don't do it. But I want you to vote, but just don't vote for her, because you don't reward bad behavior. That is over. That is over. It's too much at stake. These folks have spent the last 4 years not doing the business of the children. They've been doing everything but that, okay? And they're on that board with ulterior motives, and you have an opportunity starting August the 10th during early voting up until the 18th to change that. If you got your vote by mail ballots, go send that in. But the last day you can go ahead and send her home and let her go do something else with her life. And on August the 20th you don't need to be there. Go do something that don't require preparation and thinking.
Okay. Get out of here.
Perry, can you do it in 30 seconds?
No, I ditto to everything Attorney Cherfrere said, to everything you guys said. You know, get out, vote. It needs some changes, and it starts with you.
Yep.
Okay. Brother Wright?
Man, I just want to thank everybody, all the well wishers. Continue to view, subscribe, like, and be with us next week. We're really getting ready to blow this thing up.
Speaking of next week, brothers, we're gonna need you to, and we're not discounting the sisters, but brothers, we need you and all of your positive aspects that you bring to our lives. And I'll just leave it like that. The other thing is, there were some comments made, and it reminded me of Forrest Gump. When he said, "Stupid is and stupid does." And we got a lot of that going on. In closing, the importance of local voting. In closing, it's essential to recognize the significant impact of local voting. Local elections shape our immediate communities, influencing key issues such as education, public safety, and infrastructure. Each vote in these elections contributes to the democratic process, ensuring that the voices of residents are heard and represented. By participating in local voting, we uphold the values of democracy and play a direct role in shaping the environment we live in. Your vote is powerful and vital in fostering positive change and accountability at the community level. So do your thing to what's happening and encouraging and invigorating our communities. Vote. God bless you, and thank you all for taking a part in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.